I could cater this entire book to what I think a reader would like, and there would still be readers that don't like it. So why would I do that? Why would I cater this book to a hypothetical reader when that's not even going to guarantee that reader liking the book? I was not planning to film this today or film anything today. I was actually just at a cafe working on the book, and I decided that I wanted to just talk about this because it's something that I've been reflecting on a lot. I think I stopped writing for myself, and I don't quite know exactly when that happened. So what do I mean when I say I stopped writing for myself? At some point in the writing process, other voices started entering my writing consciousness. I started thinking a lot about, what is the reader going to think of this? What is my beta readers going to say about this? I got this sort of viewer, this watcher, this reader stuck in my brain. I know that people have different opinions on whether or not you can create effectively when you have your audience in mind. I feel like it's not like a black and white thing, but for me, I do feel like it really hindered me to have this constant awareness of the audience inside my head. I feel like I enter flow state and I enter the part of my brain and the part of my process where I can do my best work when I'm really able to detach from the idea that this piece of work, this book, this writing is ever going to be perceived by another person. That's truly when I feel like I do my best work. That's when I felt like I did my best work during drafting. At the time, I referred to it as, I feel like I'm able to write best when I turn my brain off. And upon further reflection, now I realize that it wasn't so much that I was turning my brain off, because I was very much still, thinking about the world and trying to write in an effective way. It was that I was turning off the perceived inner critic in my head that was making me actually able to flow and get good words down on the page. And I think, especially since I've started revising book 1, which is something that I'm still working on as I'm beginning to prep for book 2, I've let that inner critic start renting an apartment inside my head. And they became a constant companion for my writing sessions. During revision, you're very prone to this because it feels a lot more real and a lot more pressing that other people are going to read and perceive this book and your work. And when you're drafting, you can kind of forget about that reality. You can really say to yourself, well, no one's going to see this draft, so I can be free, I can be playful, I can write whatever I want, no one's going to see it. But as you start getting into revision and realizing, okay, a draft or 2 from now, this is going to beta readers, other people are going to see these words, it becomes a lot more obvious, it becomes a lot harder to ignore. And for me, that translated into every time I would make a decision, whether that was a piece of dialogue or if I was drafting a new scene, if I was tweaking a paragraph, anytime I did anything, there was this thought in my head of, what is the reader going to think of this? What is my beta reader going to say about this? If I wanted to add in a cute little bit of banter, as I was writing that banter, I wasn't only thinking about, what do I think of this? I was also thinking about, what would a reader think of this? Is this going to trigger any common reader icks? And it was just all of this going on as a subconscious backtrack to my writing process. Obviously, I think that made writing a lot more exhausting. It made me feel very vulnerable when I was writing, and it just really held me back. What I've been trying to come back to is the idea that the ultimate goal, especially as someone who is pursuing self-publishing, is to write a book that I like, to write a book that I'm proud of, to write a book that I think is strong and enjoyable and that actualizes the vision that I have for these characters, this world, and this story. And as I was working on this book in the cafe earlier, I realized I had kind of lost my love for this story, for these characters, because of how heavily I was filtering everything I was doing through the lens of how will other people perceive this book and not what do I like. I want to come back to that being my filter. Am I happy with this? Am I proud of this? And if the answer is yes, then that should be enough. And this is not to say that I want to disregard feedback or that I'm not going to be open to feedback when the time comes. Not at all. I think feedback is so valuable. It can make you realize things that you didn't see before. I have all of those beliefs. But the ultimate filter should still be, does this feel right to me? Do I like this? When I give critique to other people, I always give the disclaimer of disregard what doesn't resonate with you, because at the end of the day, you as the writer are the ultimate source of truth and the person that needs to filter any feedback or any input that you're getting through your own taste and your own preferences and your own vision for the story. When I think about what I want to feel and what I want to accomplish when I eventually put this book out and hold a self-published material version of it in my hands, I want to feel proud. I want to feel like this book is my best work. I truly love everything that's on these pages. It is a great encapsulation of me, my taste, what I like in books. I want to feel all of those feelings and that pride and security that I made the book as good as it could be and as close to what I truly like as I could. And then regardless of what feedback or reviews or thoughts come in from other people, I can stand strong in the fact that I like the book and I feel really good about it. That's the feeling that I'm going for. Not ending up with a finished product where I'm like, well, I catered it to what I thought other people would like, because that can only take you so far. And this is something that I feel with all art that I've ever made in any sort of field or medium is I always get more security from a true confidence in what I did and a true liking for what I did than I get in any external validation. External validation is not guaranteed. Even if I catered this book to exactly what I thought a reader would like, if I tried to avoid anything that might ick the reader out or make the reader roll their eyes, if I tried to put in every element that I thought the reader would find cute or charming or engaging or intense, I could cater this entire book to what I think a reader would like, and there would still be readers that don't like it. So why would I do that? Why would I cater this book to a hypothetical reader and make assumptions about what that reader would and would not like when that's not even going to guarantee that reader liking the book? You know, the only thing that I can truly control and guarantee is my own perception of the book. And this has really been a weight on my shoulders because especially as I am getting closer to the beta reader stage, I do have thoughts sometimes when I'm reading through a chapter of, oof, is this piece of dialogue gonna come off as cringy to the reader? Am I gonna get a little comment on the side of the Google Doc being like, oh, you kind of lost me there? I'm so scared of that. And it's crazy because I'm filling in the blanks for them. I am anticipating a reaction that I haven't even gotten yet. And sometimes I get in my own head about this with YouTube videos, with all sorts of things, where I'm anticipating a reaction without even knowing whether or not that's going to happen. So I don't see the value in psyching myself out with hypothetical feedback that hasn't even been put on the page yet. The thing is too, like I can cross that bridge when I get to it. When I see the literal notes on the side of the page, I can look at those notes and decide whether or not I resonate with them, whether or not there's something I want to address. So what I'm trying to do, and this is going to be a reoccurring battle, I'm sure, because these things creep in whether we want them to or not. And sometimes it takes a constant effort to keep them out. I want to free myself again from that inner voice, from that third person critic, and focus in on what do I like? What scenes sound like they would be fun to me as a writer and as a reader? What do I want this love interest to say? What would I enjoy seeing from him? And bringing the joy and the fun back into it of writing the type of book that I want to read and having that as my guidance and my North Star, rather than how can I make this book the type of book that other people are going to look at and say, that's a good book. Because that is very much a preoccupation of mine, is needing or wanting other people to see the book and say, that is a good book. I liked that, but I can't control that. I can only do the best that I can, and I can't make everyone else like the book. So I might as well make myself like the book. Another part of this is I make YouTube videos. I'm a public writer, which means that my writing process is and has been very public since pretty much the conception of this duology. And a part of that is that sometimes it does feel like my entire writing process is on display, and I have to make sure that I write sometimes without filming it, that I let myself still have private writing sessions that are just me and the page. So that's something that I'm really trying to work on too, is having more completely undocumented writing sessions so that I don't always feel like I'm being watched or perceived when I'm writing, because I think it's important to have writing sessions that only feel like yours, where it's just me alone in a coffee shop, because that is when I truly got the best writing done during the drafting phase. And I want to do that more. I don't want to feel this pressure that if I'm going to write, I have to pick up a camera. In fact, I would love for most of the time when I'm writing there to be no camera involved. These are just some of the reflections that I've been having lately. My goal going forward is going to be to try to just forget that other people are going to read this book. Just push that out of my head just for a little bit longer and really just like write for me. act like I'm back in my bedroom at 14 years old, writing my little stories on my laptop, truly just for fun, and try to tap into that feeling where I forget about the book having to be good or perfect. I forget about the fact that readers are going to see my words on the page and that's going to be really vulnerable and I'm going to get reviews. And I just want to forget all of that because that does not make my writing better. What makes my writing better is me and the page and letting it flow out freely and naturally, letting myself explore ideas that might be crazy or might not work. I need to bring that feeling back. And I don't want to feel like that's only a feeling I can tap into when I'm drafting. Another thing that I'm really trying to do to combat this is no matter what stage of the process I'm at, whether that is drafting or whether it's draft 5, remembering that even as I do start getting outside input on this book, I want to filter it through the filter and the lens of, okay, I see this feedback, I'm taking it in. What do I think? Does this feel right to me? I think I need to trust my taste, my intuition. I, in general, as a people pleaser, have a tendency to assume other people's opinions are fact, and I take those opinions with such reverence and seriousness that I assume them to be true, regardless of how I feel. And so I could see myself, as I start getting more feedback, falling into my people-pleasing tendencies and making changes that I don't truly believe in or that I don't think are right for my book, that I'm not happy with, that I don't even like, just because I see that comment and I immediately take it as fact and think, well, if that person thinks that, then I need to make this change. And like I said, I want to be receptive to feedback, but I think there's also this aspect of not every piece of feedback you get is going to resonate and going to feel right. And I think you have to honor that. And so I just want to go into all of the later stages of the process with this first book with that knowledge in my back pocket and that reminder in my back pocket that this book is mine and I deserve to reclaim it as such, to really feel that it's mine and to make it everything that I want it to be. I hope this resonated with someone. Let me know in the comments if it did and if you've ever struggled with these feelings. Do you have any sort of tricks or things that you tell yourself to help you combat that? I'd be very curious to hear. I like doing these little reflective, chattier videos sometimes just to get really honest about how I'm feeling throughout the writing process, things that I'm thinking about. If you made it all the way to the end of the video, comment down below. I'm writing for myself. We're gonna do a little affirmation. And if you're not writing a book, still comment I'm writing for myself, just for kicks. I'll see you guys back here soon with my next writing vlog. And I'm gonna go to Barnes & Noble to keep working on this book, just me and the manuscript. Bye.